Thank you for joining a very different episode. What I want to discuss, without getting political, is the current restrictions on riders being able to conduct a CBT, a MOD1 or a MOD2. So a little bit of guidance for if you're trying to do your CBT, your MOD1 or your MOD2, and the current government advice and the DVSA guidance. You can download the letter from the DVSA from the government website, and you can have a look at the easing the lockdown restrictions on the gov.uk website as well, but I will put links below. Yes, I have been corrected. I keep calling it part 1, part 2, apologies. So at the moment, we're not allowed to do CBT MOD1s or MOD2s, and what I'd like to just briefly look at is what the restrictions are at the moment. The Prime Minister announced yesterday that from Saturday the 4th of July that pubs, restaurants and hairdressers, outdoor gyms, playgrounds, cinemas, museums, galleries, theme parks and arcades, as well as libraries indoor, social clubs indoor, places of worship indoor and community centres will be able to reopen providing they adhere to COVID secure guidelines. There's a lot of information on gov.uk website about that and about areas that may also reopen if they do so safely, including outdoor gyms, playgrounds, etc. Another part of the government initiative is to reduce the reliance on public transport and to ensure that people can travel safely to and from work should they have to. Now, motorcycle riding, as far as I can tell, is less risky than a number of those areas. I'm confused. So I'd love to see the risk assessment that says why motorcycling test centres and driving test centres don't meet the certain criteria that's set out by the government, because I cannot for once, I get the fact that the government has to prioritise areas that bring in revenue to companies and to industries that are really, really suffering. I understand that. But if you're going to allow people to go to pubs and drinking and socialising, etc., because we all know what's going to happen when that happens, why I do not understand the logic and the risk assessment behind motorcycling test centres and car test centres. The car test centres I get, because you're in a car for 30 to 45 minutes with someone else, and even with masks, then you're in a confined space. So other than having windows open and driving test centres, etc., I get that to a point. Motorcycling test centres, that the only time that you're inside is when you sign the initial documentation and to say thank you and to wait around. So that can definitely be done outside. And the fact that you turn up, even if you're required to turn up with your own helmet. Hang on, I've got some notes. So I made some notes. Driver and Vehicle Standards Agency is doing, it says here, and I quote, is doing what it can to help slow the spread of the virus and advise us to look at what support the government has put in place for you. So key workers and tests for key workers, very admirable, I get that, and that is definitely something that's required. Now, motorbikes tick the box on a number of points here. One, that you are generally isolated. Two, you are wearing protective gear, gloves and helmet. So essentially your own mask and your own gloves, which has got to be a plus point. 3, if you do travel by motorbike, you're actually stopping reliance on public transport and not adding a car to congestion. And it's a greener form of transport. And it's a more affordable form of transport as well than a car would be. So I'm really struggling to understand the logic of the risk that says that driving test centres and motorcycling test centres are not allowed to continue with their MOD2. Of course, I'm frustrated because I want to do my MOD2. But I just can't understand the logic. It doesn't make sense to me. The good news is that for people that are coming to the end of their compulsory CBT dates, then that will be renewed automatically, and that's great. So the requirement to pass a MOD2 or a MOD1 is not necessarily there, but to do a CBT, surely there is a requirement to get people onto these forms of transport, and to encourage these forms of transport seems like a positive thing anyway for the reasons I've outlined previously. So I'd be really, really interested in the comments below. Maybe I've missed something. Maybe there's something that I'm missing because of my lack of experience on a motorbike that I'm not seeing at test centres. So please correct me. Please let me know if there's something that I should consider. But I can't see, against when you're allowing close proximity venues to open on the 4th of July, I don't understand how that is less risky than doing a motorcycle test on either CBT, MOD1 or MOD2. I don't understand the logic, but correct me if I'm wrong. Please let me know, and thank you again, and I hope to see you on the next video.